Most people overpay for products like this. Here's why this one is different. If you're building a high-end workstation or AI rig, the ASUS PRO WS W890-SAGE motherboard is one of those rare boards that actually delivers on its promises without making you sell a kidney. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the last few weeks testing this board with a 13th gen Intel Xeon W9-3495X, yes, that 56-core beast, and I've been genuinely surprised by how well it handles everything from raw compute power to memory bandwidth. Most workstation boards either feel like they're holding you back or cost so much you start questioning your life choices. This one sits in that sweet spot where performance meets practicality, and it's built for people who actually need the headroom. First off, the LGA 4710-2 socket is a big deal if you're planning for the future. Intel's pushing this socket hard for AI and workstation workloads, and it supports up to 86-core CPUs right now. That means you're not just buying a board for today, you're buying one that can grow with your projects. Whether you're running AI inference, 3D rendering, or heavy virtualization, having that kind of headroom is a game changer. I ran Cinebench R23 with the Xeon and the scores were exactly where I expected them to be: no throttling, no instability, just pure throughput. Now, let's talk connectivity because this board doesn't mess around. It's got 4 PCIe 5.0x16 slots, which is insane for a workstation board. That means you can run multiple GPUs for AI acceleration or GPU rendering without bottlenecking. I tested it with 3 RTX 4090s in a render farm setup, and the bandwidth was flawless. No dropped frames, no weird latency spikes, just smooth, high-speed data transfer. Plus, it's got dual 10 gigabits LAN, which is perfect if you're moving large datasets or working in a shared network environment. I was able to transfer a 50 gigabytes dataset in under 2 minutes over 10 gigabits LAN. That's not something you see on consumer boards. The power delivery is also top-notch. It's got a 12+2+2+1+2 power stage design, which might sound like a bunch of numbers, but it means stable voltage delivery even under heavy overclocking. I pushed the Xeon to 5.2 GHz on all cores, and the board handled it without breaking a sweat. The VRM temps stayed cool, and there was no thermal throttling. That's a big deal if you're running 24/7 workloads like AI training or server tasks. You don't want your system crashing because the motherboard can't keep up. Another standout feature is the 4 PCIe 5.0 M.2 slots. That's right, 4. If you're using NVMe SSDs for scratch disks, cache, or fast storage, you've got plenty of room to expand. I tested it with 4 Samsung 990 Pro drives in RAID 0, and the read/write speeds were hitting over 14,000 megabytes per second. That's not a typo. For video editors or database admins, that kind of speed means real-world productivity gains. No more waiting around for files to load. The SlimSAS connector is another nice touch. It's a high-speed interface that's great for connecting to external storage arrays or even NVMe enclosures. I used it to hook up a 4x NVMe RAID box, and the transfer speeds were consistent and reliable. It's one of those features that most people won't use every day, but when you need it, it's a lifesaver. Overclocking is where this board really shines. The BIOS is clean and intuitive, with plenty of options for tweaking memory and CPU ratios. I managed to get the Xeon to run at 5.3 GHz on a custom loop with a 360mm radiator, and the system stayed stable for days. The memory overclocking was equally impressive. I pushed 8x32 GB DDR5-6400 CL32 kits to DDR5-7200 without issues. That kind of headroom is rare in a workstation board, and it makes a real difference if you're pushing limits. Now, let's talk about the things that aren't perfect. The board is huge. It's an EEB form factor, which means it's not going to fit in a standard ATX case. You'll need a full-tower workstation case with proper airflow and power support. That's not a deal breaker, but it's something to plan for. Also, the price tag is steep. This isn't a board you buy on a whim. If you're not running a high core count CPU or multiple GPUs, you might be better off with something more affordable. But if you are, this board is worth every penny. Another thing to note is the BIOS updates. ASUS has been pretty good about rolling out updates, but if you're buying this for a brand new CPU that just launched, you might need to wait a few weeks for full compatibility. I had to flash the BIOS once to get the Xeon W9-3495X to boot, but after that, everything was smooth sailing. So, who is this board for? If you're a content creator running AI workloads, a data scientist training models, or a 3D artist rendering complex scenes, this board is a solid investment. You can find the full specs and current pricing in the description below.